Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome to the Daily English Show. This week is a special week. It's our last week in Nelson. And today we have another guest, Steve from the White House. The White House is a backpackers hostel in Nelson. I've never stayed there because we've been woofing since we came here. But I went there once to visit someone, and then I went there again for art walk, and that's when I met Steve, and I thought, he'd be a good person to interview. So I went and interviewed him today, and it was great talking to him. One of the things I asked him was, why did you call it the White House?
The White House. We went through a lot of different names. We weren't too sure. We were changing our mind. We registered many different names on the web, and we registered a couple different names with the government agencies, and none of them felt right. The name, the White House, it kept many of the locals here referred to this house as the White House when I described where to get building materials delivered when we were renovating. People would describe where it was, and they said, "Oh, you mean the White House?" And then it just developed from there. And my wife, she was really keen on the name, and at first I thought, "Ooh, I don't know, it sounds a bit American." But we thought, "Oh, maybe we can play with that," and so yeah, we see it as a bit of a alternative to the other White House. And yeah, I think it's a name that sticks in people's minds. We get free advertising from the other one.
Kia ora, in Stick News today, plans have been made to build Japan's first artificial surf reef. Surfing is the sport of riding on waves while standing on a narrow board called a surfboard. To ride on a wave, first you need to find one, and finding a nice wave can be tricky. Two governments in Wakayama Prefecture in Japan are planning to make the wave-finding mission a little easier. Wakayama Prefecture and a town in Wakayama called Nachikatsura are planning to build an artificial surf reef. Kyodo News reported they want to attract surfers from across the nation and revitalize the regional economy. And that was Stick News for Tuesday, the 4th of September. Kia ora. How long has this place been open? Where was your first guest from? Why did you decide to open a backpackers? What was this building used for before? Was it a house? What do you think is important for a backpackers? Where are most of the guests from?
We opened last October, middle of October. We opened our doors and then waited 2 days for our first guest, wondering whether we made a terrible mistake or not. First guest was from the UK. He was a mountain biker named Russ. That lovely fellow. He phoned, asked if there was any space at all. Come up from the bus depot, and he was quite thrilled to be guest number one. I wanted to move back to Nelson. I grew up here as a child and was living in Australia. I knew there weren't a lot of jobs in Nelson, but it's a great place to live. And the opportunity come up for it, well, this house come up for sale. I had no intention of starting backpackers, but I just looked at the house and it was too big to live in, and It's just such a cool old house, and I just thought, what could you do with it? It would make a great hospital. And it was a house up until the 1960s, and then it was converted into commercial offices, so it was various government offices. Most recent was an employment center up until about 3 years ago. Then it just closed down and sat empty for several years, becoming more and more derelict, and was just looking for a new owner, looking for someone who could put some love and care into it. Well, I did some research, besides I had my own thoughts, but I thought I won't rely completely on them, so I did some research, some web-based research and surveys and whatnot, and the number one factor that most people raised was cleanliness. That was slightly ahead of a place with that special feeling. No particular word for it, but just a place where people feel comfortable. And then other than that, there's good showers, comfortable beds, a well-equipped kitchen, a place to it's comfortable to sit outside as well. We've got beautiful veranda here where it's very popular in the summer on a warm night. Many little things as well, just storage and the types of beds, free internet, people like, many little things. But number one was cleanliness. Assortment. A little while ago I went down our list when we were booked out completely, and out of 26 people we only had one Canadian, but everywhere. We get quite a few Americans because we're fairly close to the border, but a lot of Europeans, a lot of Kiwis, more Kiwis than Australians, which is surprising. Probably, I would say the Kiwis would be our number 3 after Canadians, Americans, and Kiwis. We get a lot of Swiss, Germans, especially in the winter. Everywhere. A few Japanese, a few Chinese, a few Koreans, but there's still a few countries where we haven't had as a guest yet, but I'm sure we'll tick them all off the list before we're done.
How long has the White House been open? A. Since last October. B. Since last November. C. Since last December. A. Where was the first guest from? A. New Zealand. B. Germany. C. the UK. C. From Steve's research, what do people think is the most important thing for a backpackers? A. Good showers. B. Cleanliness. C. Comfortable beds. B. Why does the White House have quite a few American guests? A. Because it's called the White House. B. Because it's clean. C. Because they're fairly close to the border. C. What was the building being used for before it was a backpackers? A. It sat empty for several years. B. It was a hotel. C. It was a restaurant. A.
And that was the Daily Englisher. See you tomorrow. Bye.